Next step, we are going to generate pivot charts and then place it on a dashboard. We are going to place the charts here, dashboard. In order to do that, let's go to view. Under view, I'm going to get rid of the grids. That makes it really look nice. So I'll go back to pivot tables, pivot table. This is where I'm going to generate the first chart. This will be a time series plot or a line plot where we look at the changes of GDP as the years change. Across time, we want to see how GDP is changing. Now remember, we are talking of the GDP growth rate. So let's go to, so first of all, click here in this pivot table. Go to pivot table analyze, pivot chart. The first chart we want is the line. I'll click on the line and I will OK. So that's how easy it is. I'll click where we have total. I will delete it. I want to get rid of these filters. I will go to chart analyze where we have show height on the upper end of fill buttons. I'll click to get rid of the fill buttons. I'll come here and I will simply type the title. Here we have GDP. Control A, Control B to make it bold. You can write whatever you want, but that is it. I'll just make it slightly bigger. And finally, I am going to go to design. Where we have design, I'll click here to choose. You have lots of options. You can choose, you can make it as crazy as you want, but I will not. I will choose style 6. So I'm going to click where we have style 6. So you can see what's happening with GDP. Here you can see where it went down below 0. You can clearly see this was a recession. And here, this is the COVID recession. This is the subprime situation. So I'm going to click Control X to cut it. If you are using Mac, it's Command. I'll come here, Control V and paste it. And I'll just make sure it's long enough to reach to L. Okay, yeah, I'll leave it there at the end of K and L. And I just want to make sure I go from 1 to 10. So everything depends on the size of your screen. I have a pretty big screen, that's why. That's fine for now. Let's go to the next one, pivot table. The next chart is under the GDP deflator. Go to pivot table analyze, pivot charts. We will use column as it has suggested. Okay, I'll increase the size. I will click on total to delete it. Delete it by just hitting delete on your keyboard. I want to get rid of these things. I'll go to pivot chart analyze. Click on the upper end of show height. Come here, GDP deflator. Control A, Control B to make it bold. Let's go to design. Click here and look for style. What style is this? I'll take style 8 here. And I will Control X, go to dashboard, click here, Control V to paste it, and simply adjust the size. I want to go from 10 to 20. So that's it for GDP deflator. Let's go to pivot tables. Click where you have the CPI, Consumer Price Index. Go to pivot table analyze, pivot charts. We are going to take the area plot. OK. Increase the length of the plot. Click on total, hit delete on your keyboard. Get rid of those things by going to pivot chart analyze. Under show height, click to get rid of it. Total, we will put CPI. Control A, Control B to make it bold. Click out of it. Go to design. Click here to open for more options, and I'll take style 7. Click there, come here, Control X to cut it off. Click on dashboard, come and click here, Control V to paste it, reduce the size, from 10 to 30, and that is it. So the last one, we want to repeat something like this. Go to pivot tables, click here, pivot table analyze, pivot charts, and let's take a look here. We have line plot. We'll take line plot again. OK. We get rid of this. You click, hit delete on your keyboard. You want to get rid of that, go to pivot chart analyze. Under show height, you click there, increase the size of that. Where we have total, we'll just double click there and write unemployment rate. Control A, Control B to make it bold. Come to design, open here, search for a design that is consistent with the other ones. So we'll take style 6. Let's see what's here. Okay, we'll take style 6. Control X, come to dashboard, click here, Control V to paste it. So I will double click here to give myself some space on the ribbon, to give myself some space. So try to reduce the size, adjust it there. I want to go from 30 to 40. If you have a smaller screen, you can just make things smaller. If you have a bigger screen, it's up to you. So that's it. I'm done with the changes with respect to time. Now I want to do the last ones where I will do the changes with respect to countries. So I'll scroll down to where I have it. Same approach. Click on the pivot table, go to pivot table analyze, pivot charts, and we'll look for different types of charts. Take the pie chart, take the one that is 3D. OK. Get rid of that by going to pivot chart analyze, show height, get rid of that. Where you have your total, I want to put GDP and Control A, Control B. Now I want to do some adjustments here by going to design. Come here and take a look. What do we have? Okay, just to show you something before we get to design. Under design, you can come here, quick layout, and you click here to just try. You have different options. And if you want to insert more information, you can always go to add chart element. And you can add the title. If you want the labels, you can have it. Wherever you want to put the labels, it's really up to you. What type of label you want and where you want it to be. So if I click here, for example, more data label options, right here I have more options being provided on my right. So if I click here, it's just the fill. Here it's giving me more options and so on. And here I have the label options. Do I want the value? Do I want the percentage? and do I want just the numbers? So you have the value, you have the percentage. For example, you see the value and you see the percentage. So maybe we will leave it as it is. Now, where do we want it to be? Do we want it to be outside? If you think you are not seeing it clearly, you could put it outside. You could put it at the center. You could say put it where it best fit. It's really up to you. And you can always come back here to the alignment, the size, and so on. There are lots of things you can play around with, but that's not the object. I'll go back to design, and I want to choose one of these things. So let's see which one. Okay, I think it's okay. I'll let you play around with it. I'll leave it at this point. Click here, cut it, Control X, go to dashboard, click here, Control V to paste it, and of course reduce the size. Okay, we could as well choose to take half of it. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll reduce it, but I'll just take half of this size so that I can put another dashboard here. So I'll go to Power Pivot. We go to GDP Deflator, Pivot Table Analyze, Pivot Charts. Now we will no more use the pie chart. We will use something that is pie-like, but not a pie chart. I'll click on pie. I'll come here. It will be a donut chart. Okay. Now we can get rid of that. Go to Power Chart Analyze, Show Height. What do we want here? This is GDP Deflator, GDP. Hold on, cancel this. GDP. Okay, I think I'm clicking at the wrong place. GDP Deflator. Control A, Control B. That's it. Now we want to play around with the size of this. So I can come here. I can increase the size of the donut or decrease it. It's really up to me. I want to have a size that looks like that by decreasing it. So I clicked here. I chose this option, decrease the size. On the other hand, I can do whatever I want. So let's go to design. Under design, if you want, you can go to add chart and you can add the labels. Okay, it's up to you. You can click on more data label options. Then it's going to take you here. You can choose what do you want. Do you want the percentage and the value? I will leave it as it is, percentage and value. Then I'll go back to design and I will come here and choose whatever I want. It's really up to you. Choose whatever option you will like. Let's see, if I take this option, I can still come back here and play around with the size. Okay, so you can still modify it as you want. That's it. I'll click here, Control X, dashboard, click here, Control V, and pull it there. That's it. Awesome. So now we have two more to go. Pivot tables. Go under CPI, pivot table analyze. Go to pivot chart. We will choose a different type. Yeah, we will take the column chart. I'll leave it under column. Please do not take the 3D things. It's not nice. Okay. Get rid of this total. Get rid of these filters. Go to pivot chart analyze. Under show height, hide it. For your total, this is the CPI. Come in there, put CPI. Control A, Control B to make it bold. And go to design. Under design, which one do I want? I will take this one. Control X, go to dashboard, paste it here. So I will close this so that I have some space. Close all of that. I have some more space to do whatever I want. I'll reduce it slightly because I need to put my slicers. And finally, you click there, pivot table analyze, pivot chart. This time, what are we? We'll take the bar. Okay. You get rid of this total. Get rid of this thing. Show height, get rid of them. And this is unemployment rate. Control A, Control B, click there, go to design. Under design, let's see, let's take this one. However, we want the labels inside. Go to add quick. Let's see. Yes, it works. Get rid of the total that came here. And voila. Control X. Click here. Control V. Adjust it. Down. Down. And that is it. We have a dashboard. Two more things to do. We need to put the slicers to be able to see changes. So the first slicer, just click on any of the charts. It doesn't matter which one. And go to pivot chart analyze. We want to come and take insert slicer. Now be careful. You want a slicer by country and a slicer by years. Please do not take year. Take years, because that's what we used here. Okay. And we have the two slicers. Now, by years, I'm going to put it here. Why do I put it there? Because it gives us the option to expand it a bit. I'll pull it all the way there. And the next thing I will do is to come here to the slicer ribbon and increase the number of columns. To how many columns? Yes, I'll leave it as it is. We have 6 columns. Now I want to adjust the height. I'll pull it down and pull it up just to make it visually consistent with the chart we have there. I don't think that's the best, so I'll just pull it all the way here. It has extended more than I want. So good. The next thing, I want to take this and put it up here. We have the countries. And the last activity for the day is to put in the time, the timeline. So I will click here, just go on that pivot chart and take insert timeline, and we want year for timeline. Click on year, OK. It gives you a timeline. Now this timeline, what do I really want to do with the timeline? We want to change it. You don't want it to be months, because we really do not have months here. Our data is by year. So come here, click, and click on years. You can see months has been checked, but we want years. Click on years. Now we want years. Now you are done with all what you have to do, except one last thing. You need to create the connection. We want to connect this 1, 2, 3, 4 pivots to this slicer. And to do that, you come here. Where you have the multi-selection, right click here. Once you right click, you go to report connection. I will extend it. I want to connect 1, 2, 3, 4, the first 4. Get rid of 5. I want the first 4 I have here, and I will say OK. Then I will come here. I want to connect time by what we have here. Why time by what we have here? Because we have pivoted it by country. That's why we want to now study it by time. On the other hand, this one, we've already pivoted it by time. That's why we connect it to things by country. So I'll come here, right click, go to report connections, and I want the last 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's fine. Make sure the other ones have not been checked. Say OK. Now, let's see if everything works perfect. If I click on Canada, we should see the changes occurring here. So now we are seeing the changes of all of them cumulative. If I click on Canada, you see the change. Germany, Mexico, United Kingdom, United States. You can now study unemployment rate. Actually, you could have pulled this and put it there to see the unemployed. You can clearly see GDP is going down, unemployment rate is going up. You can see unemployment rate slightly, GDP slightly going up, unemployment rate going down. This is United States. This is Canada. This is Germany. So you can verify macroeconomic theory based on this immediately. Here, nothing is changing because we've not connected these other 4 to this. So let's take a look. We now have it for the whole period from 1980 to 2020. Let's click here to see what happens. Okay, I think I have to scroll because we don't have enough space. Or to really see everything, I could as well go to slicer and increase the number of columns here from 6 to 7. Yes, 8. Okay, we have everything now. We don't need to scroll to see things. So if I want 2020 and I simply click here, we can see how it looked like in 2020. You can click here in 2011 and see. Okay, you can see the unemployment rate here in these different countries in 2011. In 2020, this is how the unemployment rate looks like. And this is how the GDP looks like. And this is the percentage of all of them. So that's how you go about messing around. Now, we are not using this tool, so we can get rid of that. How do we get rid of that? Click anywhere inside this slicer, the right click, and go to slicer settings. Under slicer settings, take hide items with no data, because there's no data for that. There's no data for this tool. So hide it, OK, and that's it. It's gone. So now our slicers are working perfectly. You can get rid of this selection by clicking the X here, and everything else is selected. Now the last one is this one. We want to study the changes during the last, let's say the last 5 years, from 2016 to 2020. So if I click here, I'm able to pull. You see, nothing is really happening because I've not connected it to all the others. So right click anywhere here, go to report connections and connect everything. Just check everywhere so that when you use the timeline, it updates everything. So you can now see from 2016 to 2020, from 2017 to 2020, and if you simply want to see 2019 to 2020, that's how it looked like. You can see the unemployment rate going up, and you can see the GDP going down, and you can see the GDP deflator. You can see the CPI during that period. It just helps you to see things. Now, this is exclusively for the UK because not only you've used the timeline, but you've also selected this. Canada, Germany, Mexico. So that's how you can mess around with it. And for all of them, that's it. And if you want to get rid of all the filtering, that's where you are. I hope you had fun. Have fun.